Hey guys, how you going? This is BillyEatWorld, and today we're going to be talking about the Battlefield Hardline beta. Now, I'm actually doing this commentary unedited, so if it's a little bit looser than my normal commentaries, that's why. So basically what I wanted to do with this video was give you an idea about how I'm feeling about the game so far, and to address some of the things that I'm hearing on Twitter and other social media. Basically, I guess the first thing that I'm hearing from pretty much everybody is how this game is a lot more arcadey than Battlefield 4. And I have to say that I'd agree, but I wouldn't go as far as to say that it's anything like Call of Duty. It's obviously got that Battlefield feel to it, and when I jumped into the game, I didn't have any problem controlling the game at all. Also, the maps are a lot larger than I thought they'd be, because I thought that this game would probably fill the hole that Medal of Honor is not going to fill this year. So, to be honest, I actually think this game is more like Battlefield than I really expected it to be. Now, the question is this actually a good thing? And to be honest, as long as you realise that this game isn't going to replace Battlefield 4 and that it isn't anything like what Battlefield 5 will be, as far as I'm concerned, it seems like a pretty good addition to the series. I mean, I'm pretty sure that I'm going to be playing Battlefield 4 a lot more than this game when it actually is finally released. But that's not to say that I won't play this game at all. I tend to like the mid-range game in first-person shooters, which is why I don't actually play games like Call of Duty. But that being said, I have played every Call of Duty game to date, but I just haven't played it anywhere near as much as I've played the Battlefield series. And that's because I do enjoy this style of gameplay, I just enjoy it in small doses. So I can sort of see Battlefield Hardline filling that slot for me, at least for the next year or so. So for any of you guys who haven't actually played the Hardline beta yet, I'm going to run through a few key things that I realise that all of you are thinking. Number one, like I said before, the controls are pretty much exactly like Battlefield 4, and you should be able to jump in straight away. But when you actually start using the weapons, you realise that it's a lot easier to kill people than it is in Battlefield 4. There's a bit more recoil than there is in, say, games like COD, but the spread increase per shot is a whole lot less than BF4, and I don't feel like the suppression mechanic is as bad either. So it's pretty effortless to kill people if you're a good Twitch player. Now, on the other hand, that actually makes it probably a little bit harder for recon players, and there actually are a few DMRs in the recon class, which I tried out, and I actually found these pretty difficult to use because it's just so easy to kill people with the assault rifles or the LMGs in this game. Now, in terms of weapons, I haven't actually used a lot of the weapons yet. I've tried out most of the assault rifles, and like I said, I tried out the DMR in the recon kit. The assault rifles, so far available, there is the M16A3, the G36C and the AKM. The first two being your standard 5.56 assault rifle, and the AKM being sort of like a Scar H is in Battlefield 4 and hitting a little bit harder. Most of your regular attachments are back, but this time you don't unlock them by getting kills, you can actually buy them using money. Now, when I say you don't unlock them using kills, that's kind of sort of half true, because the different attachments are tiered, so you actually have to get a certain amount of kills to unlock each tier. This also means that because you're not getting the attachments in a certain order, or you're waiting for battle packs to unlock them, you can actually get pretty much all of the attachments that you want very, very quickly. So I'm sort of wondering how they're actually going to balance that when it comes to actually releasing the game, because I feel like there's going to be a lot of attachments on most of those weapons that I'm not going to even bother to buy. So, I mean, at this point in time, I think I've got like $90,000 in cash that I could use to buy attachments or other guns or whatever, but I'm really not compelled to use it because I'm already running the guns how I want to. Now, I'm not going to go into too much detail about the other weapons in Battlefield Hardline because, to be honest, I haven't actually used that many of them. But I will say that the 38 snub-nose pistol at the moment is pretty overpowered for a revolver. It's basically like the Battlefield 3 Rex. It's got no trigger delay, and I think it kills in 3 shots. So basically, it's a pretty damn good pistol as it is at the moment. Whether it stays like that, I'm not completely sure, but I guess we'll see when the final game's released. So as for my first impressions of the vehicles, well, basically one thing that is different from Battlefield 4 is that you can now do damage to some vehicles with just regular guns. So that's kind of cool, and it's actually something that I talked about in a video that I released last week on weapon calibers, and I'm actually pretty impressed that they've brought this in, because it sort of makes sense. It's unrealistic to think that, you know, an assault rifle can't punch through a car. So it's pretty good that they've brought this in. Another thing that I've heard a lot of people talking about is how the cars handle, and basically they don't handle realistically at all. And if you like realistic car simulators, well, I guess this isn't the game for you, but then it is a first-person shooter. It's not a racing game or anything like that, so if you're looking for realistic driving, then maybe you should go and try out Forza or something like that. Now, as for gadgets and perks and that sort of thing, I've really only tried out the operator class, which if you haven't already played the game, is basically the same as the assault kit in Battlefield 4. The perks that I've tried out so far are the med kit, which comes unlocked as standard, and I've also tried out the survivalist perk and revive. Now, both the survivalist perk and revive, I'm pretty sure are going to get some changes before the final game is released, because the survivalist perk actually allows you to revive yourself. Now, you can't revive yourself if you've been shot in the head, but you can revive yourself if you've been roadkilled and basically died in any other way. Also, the revive perk is pretty much like the defibs in Battlefield 3. There's no delay in reviving someone, they come back with pretty much full health, and you can revive people as much as you want. Maybe that fits a little bit better with the arcadey feel of this new game, but I sort of feel like it's going to get patched, because you're going to end up with everyone running this assault kit much in the same way as everyone ran assault in Battlefield 3. And finally, I guess I should mention the maps themselves and the game modes. So just generally, the map that is available to play in the beta is called High Tension, and there's two game modes that are available called Heist and Blood Money. Now, both Heist and Blood Money are different enough from the game modes in Battlefield 4 to be pretty interesting. But after playing them for about 4 to 5 hours now, they are starting to get a bit stale, and I'm pretty sure everyone else playing the beta is starting to think the same thing. Blood Money is basically a close quarters game mode where each team has to get $5 million back to their vault in their base. You can find the money either in the money pile, which is in the center of the map, or by raiding the enemy's vault, or you can even get it from dead enemy team members. Heist is probably a bit more like obliteration in Battlefield 4, which basically involves the criminals trying to steal packages from two vaults, which they then need to take to an escape point. When you're playing as the police, obviously your job is to try and stop the criminals. And also I should mention that the map in this game mode is actually a lot bigger, so you can actually use vehicles and the recon kit a bit more effectively, but that's not to say that there isn't a lot of close quarters action though, because like obliteration in Battlefield 4, everyone tends to cluster around the two packages. And you do get a few really close quarters gunfights, and I've heard some people say that it's actually more intense than Blood Money. But anyway, to wrap up this video, I guess I should point out that this is all just my opinion. And to be honest, anything that's in the beta now could quite possibly change when the final game is released. That's why my last few videos and this one have been a little bit looser than normal, because I know that I can't give you the hard facts of what the actual game is going to be like when it's released. As for my overall opinion of Battlefield Hardline so far, I think it's a really good game, and I think it's a game that when it's released, I'll be buying on launch, and I'll probably be covering it a lot on this channel. Like I said before though, I can't see it replacing Battlefield 4, and I'm probably glad that it isn't going to. So for all of you guys out there who have bought Battlefield 4 in Premium, don't worry, because I don't think the game is going to die anytime soon, at least not until Bad Company 3 or Battlefield 5 comes along. And for any of you guys out there who are still wondering if this is a COD clone or a clone of Payday 2, well, I can say now without a shadow of a doubt that it's not. I believe it's a new game in its own right, and while it may have a lot in common with COD, Payday 2 or Battlefield 4, I think that it's going to find its own following, and I think people will actually buy it. Is it going to be worth pre-ordering or even buying when it comes out? Well, I'm probably going to pre-order it, but I know a lot of guys aren't going to pre-order any DICE game purely because of what's happened with Battlefield 4, and I can understand that. It's safe to say that I'm pretty keen for the final game, and if you guys are a fan of the Battlefield series, then you should be too, because this is going to be different from every other game that's ever been in the Battlefield series, but I think it's going to be a pretty standout title, and I think it's going to be different, and that's honestly, I think, what this series needs, because let's face it, it's been pretty much the same sort of thing since Battlefield 2. But anyway guys, that just about wraps it up, and as always, if you like what you see, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you haven't already, please check out all my other Battlefield 4 videos. I've got them all linked in a playlist in the description below. And stay tuned because I'll no doubt have a lot more Battlefield Hardline videos for you over the next couple of weeks. But until next time guys, see you later and have a good one.